Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla, and for today's video, I'm giving y'all a finance update for September 2024. Happy October. I hope you all had a good month of September. I will say for myself, it was pretty good, better than expected, and I am really excited for the rest of the year. So let's go ahead. These videos are always really long, so let's go ahead and hop into everything. I'm first going to start with the financial goal that I set for September, and that was to make at least $3,500 in business income, and I did make more than $3,500. I actually made over $4,000, so I will talk about that, give you the exact number as I go through my income and expenses. But also every month I put out an income report, so if you're interested in the specifics of where my money comes from on a monthly basis, I talk about it in more detail in those videos, and that will be up next week. So here we are on my spreadsheet. If you're interested in this layout, in this template, I do have it linked down below for free. I actually have a couple of versions of this. Now, in case you are new here, I am self-employed, so the top section is focused on the business side of everything, and then down at the bottom, this is kind of my personal spending, and I do pay myself a paycheck, 2 paychecks every month from my business. I'll definitely explain everything as I go. So starting up top with the business side of everything, I put here, so my goal for the month was to make at least $3,500 from business income, and that's gross earnings. But when I budget, I like to be more conservative in case I am not going to hit that $3,500 or whatever number, the goal that I'm aiming for. So I knew that in September I would make a minimum of $2,500, which is why I put that as expected, but that ended up being $4,168.37. And then for rollover business revenue, this is just money that was still in my business checking account from the month before, so from August. I thought it would be $500, but it was actually a bit higher. That was $1,112.73. And then I always have this spot for pulling from my business sinking fund, because I've had a few thousand in a business sinking fund in case I needed to pull from it. It's also what I use for my giveaways as of lately. So I don't typically pull from this sinking fund, but I did in September, and that was $1,750. I did recently invest in a coach, and that was the first half of the payment. So I did make a little bit more money in September, and I maybe could have cash flowed this, but I really don't think I would have been able to, just because you'll see with the numbers here that without that money I would have had to I would have to pull from somewhere. So I have that business sinking fund for that reason exactly. But I'll talk about all that as I go through my spending for this side of things. So first up with my expenses is payroll. That's what I pay myself. Budgeted $2,000, that is $2,000. I do give myself a 401k through my business, so I contribute 5% from my personal paychecks, which that will be further down. But I also match that as a company. That's at 4%, so that's $80, that's right. Payroll taxes, I budgeted $150, but I'm not sure why I put that, because I guess I didn't know based off of the whole 401k match. I wasn't sure if that would save me on taxes, and I don't think it did overall. But the payroll taxes came to $153. And then distribution, I budgeted $250. So distribution is just when you transfer money from your business checking account to your personal checking account, and you can use that as needed. I actually didn't give myself a distribution at all, because right now I am trying to work on getting a month or two ahead in my business checking account. So I want several thousand in that account, so that if I ever have a low month with business revenue, then I can have that as backup and not feel like any stress around it. Next are actual business expenses. I budgeted $200, but this is where it went much higher. So $2,019.66. That video I was mentioning earlier where I talk about my income breakdown, my income report, I also go over my business expenses, so I will break that down in detail there. But the big chunk of this was the coach that I've been working with, and that was the $1,750. I know that the opinions around hiring a coach or working with a coach are kind of split. Like, I've seen some comments of oh, that's great that you're investing in a coach, and then I've seen some people say oh, that's a lot of money, why would you do that? And I'm gonna say that it has absolutely been worth it so far, because it's just really shifted how I'm handling my business and what I'm charging for my services. And it's part of the reason why I saw a higher income this month, and that I feel confident that my October income is gonna be even higher. And even with everything that I've learned, like all the resources that I've received from this person, it's already been super valuable, and I know that I'm gonna get my money back. And he actually gave me a guarantee, like, I will continue working with you until you get your money back, but I'm pretty positive I'm gonna get my money back within the next couple of weeks, and it's just crazy. It's very exciting. So that's my thought on that. Okay, and then the final thing here is insurance. This is my health insurance as well as dental. That is $99.28. Altogether, I spent $4,351.94, and you can see I had quite a bit left over, and I'm doing that intentionally. That's why I still didn't take out a distribution in September, because I just want it to roll over into the next month so that I can build up that 1 month ahead fund in my business checking account. Let's go down to the personal side of my finances. So my paychecks, those are $2,000 gross. My distribution was 0 this month. I did make some extra income, $490.98. And then this month I did not pull anything from my sinking funds. As far as my expenses go, first up we have taxes. I budgeted $450, but that was actually $350.18. This was just what I paid, the taxes I paid from my paychecks. I did not save any additional tax money. And then my 401k, I budgeted $100 because that is 5% of my paychecks. $100 is correct. Budgeted 0 for my brokerage, that's correct. I did not invest anything there. My emergency fund, I budgeted $50, ended up saving $30 to that. Gift sinking fund, I budgeted 0, that's right, I did not add to my gift sinking fund. Car maintenance sinking fund, I did add $100, and then car insurance sinking fund, I did add $125. And then as far as donating goes, I budgeted $100, but I did not donate anything. I talked about this recently, but I do currently have a foster dog, and while I have her, that's technically a donation, like buying her food and paying for the things that I'm paying for her, I would count as a donation, but they're not official donations. So while I have her, I'm probably not going to be donating money unless I can like really increase my income and feel more comfortable about it. But yeah, I'm hoping for her to be adopted soon. She is available for adoption. I absolutely love her, but we are trying to find her a forever home. House/utilities, I budgeted 0, which is correct, because if you watched my August video, I pulled from my emergency fund so I could pay for housing/utilities for August and September. So I kind of got a month ahead with that, which was nice. And this allowed me to, so this basically was so that I wouldn't have to make as much in September. And then I knew that if I didn't have to pay anything for housing, I didn't have to take a distribution. I kind of planned it all out back in August and was like, this would be nice to just get a month ahead on it all and not worry about it for 1 month and then go from there. Next up is household. So I budgeted $50 and I spent $49.84. I bought detergent, cleaning spray, and then sponges. Groceries, I budgeted $350. Okay, the next few things are like all in the red, fair warning. But all worked out. So let's see, groceries, I budgeted $350. That ended up being $502.12. I thought I would be closer to the $350, but we did come down to Florida. My boyfriend and I came down to Florida this past Sunday, which was still in September, and we did end up buying groceries. Well, I bought groceries on Monday for the both of us, and the reason that I want to pay is because my boyfriend paid for this whole Airbnb that we're in, so I was like, no, I'll pay for it all. And then I had also bought some more groceries before leaving because I wanted like snacks for the beach and for the road trip. So yeah, just ended up being more. Obviously over budget here by $152, but it's okay. And then food out, I budgeted $50. That ended up being $64.30. So I bought some fries at a concert. I reloaded my Starbucks card. That was $10. Went to Shawnee's, which is like a vegan bakery and breakfast place, and then kava. I got kava for my boyfriend and I during our road trip. So that was that's kind of what put me over, but that's fine. So over budget by $14.30, but I would still say overall that's not too bad on food out. All right, next up is gas for my car. I budgeted $75. This one is also over. I actually filled up my tank 3 times, so that came to $91.63, so over budget by over $16 there. Health and beauty, I budgeted $400. This one's over as well. I spent $694.52. So The main thing here was that I had to pay for, y'all know recently I talked about the whole like drama with my health insurance and with the pharmacy. It's really kind of confusing to explain, but they put me on a generic version of the medication that I'm on, and because of that, I had to pay $242. So that's the biggest chunk here. And now they switched me back to the actual brand of the medication, and because they switched me, my savings card covers that and I have to pay $0. So I talked about that in my October budget, how I was like relieved that that went away. I am kind of annoyed that I got that generic and you know, I had to pay this $242, but at least I, you know, figured it out. It took quite a few phone calls and like, you know, tried to get everything switched, and I'm very grateful that it did end up working out, but had to pay for that. And I also tried to get that covered. I was like, hey, can y'all cover this with the savings card, or is there any sort of if I have a low income, can I fill out a form or something? But couldn't find anything, so I was like, whatever, I'll just pay it. I got my usual massage. I pay for the Ladders app. That's a workout a workout program basically. I bought quite a few vitamins because since we'll be down here in Florida for 3 weeks, I was like, okay, I need to buy all of these so I don't run out while I'm there. I did go to the dentist for a cleaning, and with my insurance, I had a $50 copay, and then I bought 2 tubs of lotion, which is quite expensive. So yeah, overall, I didn't think I would go over budget, but it's fine, you know, and I know that this isn't gonna be as high moving forward because of that medication issue. So over budget by $294. Dogs and cats, so I budgeted $250. That was not high enough. I spent $470.06. So again, mostly on my foster dog as well as my sister and I's dogs. And one of our dogs went to the vet, and that was like $70 or so. So that wasn't too bad, but over budget by $220. I did buy some cat food for the neighborhood cat that I feed, but the bulk of this was on our dogs and then on my foster dog. Netflix is $23.48. Gym membership is $39.99. Personal spending, I budgeted $50, but I spent $0 again, so 2 months in a row of no personal spending, which I'm very proud of. And then gifts, I budgeted $100. This is why I was not adding to my gift sinking fund, but I ended up spending $95.61. So I just cash flowed that, didn't pull anything from my sinking funds. Altogether, I spent $2,736 or so, and you can see that if you subtract my expenses from my income, I do have a negative number here, but I did have some money roll over from my personal checking account to be able to pay for everything. And as I always say, it's just how it works out. Like it always, the money is there, you know, so if I have money rolled over, that helps me to pay for things. And yeah, it's not truly negative, like my checking account didn't go negative. Okay, now let's talk about my savings and investments as well as my net worth. Things are looking pretty good. So first up with my savings, these are all the balances on the final day of September after the interest came through in my high yield savings account, and I use Marcus by Goldman Sachs. So my taxes, I actually paid taxes in September and I didn't add anything to this. So that is at $1.15. My emergency fund, I did add a little bit too. So that is now at $12,348.98 as of the last day of September. Gift sinking fund is at $1,115.07. I didn't add anything to it, but the interest gained there helped increase that. Travel is now at $6,188.20. Car/car maintenance, $3,286.87. Car insurance, $510.34. My insurance savings, this is because I'm taking a tax credit currently for the health insurance, and I will likely have to pay at least some of that back come tax time. So that's at $2,516.35. And then my business sinking fund, which y'all saw I pulled from, that is now at $1,896.49. So I do want to get that built back up. I'm hoping to, at least I just don't want to touch it for October or for the rest of the year. And then I'm going to be doing a $1,000 giveaway again in November, December. So I'll probably pull from that. But I want to make sure I still have money there going into 2025. But altogether, my savings is at $27,863. And then we can go to my investments. So everything was up, which was great. And the only thing that I invested in September was the $100 to my 401k plus the 80 from the company matched, so not too bad. Roth IRA is now at $38,185.72, so I am up 1.7% there. 401k is up 2.1%, that is at $37,861.01. My SEP IRA, which at some point I need to, it's currently in Fidelity, but because of the way I set it up and I'm also contributing to a 401k, I need to like move it over to a different type of SEP IRA. I don't know, I haven't done that yet. But that is also up 1.7%, $433.30. My brokerage account with Vanguard, that's up 1.8% at $10,193.31. And then finally Coinbase, it's at $36.60, so overall up 16.9% because it's such a small amount. And I have been asked before, like, why do you keep this? But it's a bunch of different cryptos that I don't invest in crypto. It's not part of my strategy. And honestly, I could probably just leave this off from here, but I keep it on there. At some point I'll need to go through and sell everything, and then I'll just put it to my brokerage or something. Altogether, my investments are up 1.9%, so over $86,709 there. And then the yellow section is for my net worth. So before we scroll down to that, I will say that everything that I went through up here is down in the yellow section to calculate my net worth, aside from my taxes sinking fund, which doesn't even have much in it. I also add in how much I had in my checking accounts, so that would be my business checking account as well as my personal checking account. And then I don't count the value of my car or any of my like physical belongings, and that's just personal preference. So yeah, all those numbers come down here. My checking account was almost $3,000 between the both of them. So my net worth did increase. I am at $117,513.13. So that was really cool to see. I love having a larger amount of money invested, and I know that I need to have more money invested to see this grow even faster, but this is the highest net worth I've ever had. And it's very exciting. And I'm also just really relieved that it increased, because it's not something you can always control. Like if the market goes down and crashes a whole bunch, then you're gonna lose money, you know, and that's okay. But it's not ideal to go backwards. So to be going up is great. And here's a little graph for 2024 so far. And then I also have a graph for all of 2021 through now, and this is my favorite thing to look at. It's so cool. Final number on this sheet would be my Vantage score, my credit score basically. That actually went down a little bit. So last month it was 815 and now it's about 805. This happened for a couple of reasons. So my oldest credit cards, my two oldest credit cards, which I opened when I was like 17. The first one I opened when I was like 17, I think. And it was like a You Promise MasterCard, and it had like a $500 limit. But for the longest, I've kept up with that. Like I kept it open and just would charge $5 here and there. But I honestly got lazy with that. And typically they would send me a letter like reminding me that I need to use it or they're gonna close it. But I think it's going to my old address or something. So I wasn't paying attention and I haven't used it in quite some time. Well, honestly, I've thought about it a few times. I'm like, oh, I need to make a charge on those cards. But then I wouldn't. So two of my Barclays cards closed, the oldest one and then my second oldest credit card. Because of that, my credit history dropped, or like the credit age that decreased, and caused this to drop a little bit, which is fine. Now my next oldest credit card is like 8-9 years old, which is good because it's one that I use all the time. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll start with that. And then the other thing that happened is I opened 2 new credit cards within the span of like 2 weeks of September. I got approved for the both of them. Honestly, this hasn't taken a toll on my credit score yet, so it might drop even further because I don't think I've even seen those come through yet, because it was pretty recent. I opened those because I knew that I was going to be paying for this coach and I was like, I might as well, if I'm spending a few thousand, I might as well use these credit cards so that I can get cash back. So I opened 2 of them to get some cash back, and altogether it's going to be like over $400 in cash back. One of them I don't really like already, like I will probably close it soon, honestly, but at least I got the cash back, and that is really nice. So my score may drop further, but I'm not too concerned about it, and I was really excited to just be approved for the both of them so I could get cash back when it's money I'm spending anyway. All right, final sheet to go over would be my goal trackers. If you're interested in this, I have this available for purchase on my Etsy shop. So first up, my goal from the beginning of the year was to max out my 401k. I know I won't be able to do that since I left my full-time job, but I am able to still contribute to it, which is exciting. So in September, just from myself, like if I don't count the match that I'm giving myself through the business, that was $100. So a little bit added on here, which is nice. And I know I won't be able to max it out, but I know that at least for the rest of the year, it's going to be a few hundred more with the match too. So it's nice that I'll at least be investing more. Next up, I want to reach a $125,000 or more net worth by the end of the year. So my net worth increased by $1,521.40 in September. So I am, how close? 94% of the way there. And I think I can hit this. It's definitely going to depend on the stock market and how those things look, but I think I will be able to at least save a bit more in Q4, which will help too. So we'll see how that looks. I would also like to make at least $100,000 or more in gross income. In September, my income was $4,659.35. This is adding up my business income as well as my extra income. So far for the year, I have made over $73,400 and I am 73% of the way to that. I do hope I can still reach this. I'll definitely have to put in a ton of, really it's gonna be the final 3 months where I could hit this, you know, and it's possible, but it will be a bit of a stretch, but I'm definitely gonna try. As far as my business income goal, wanted to make at least $50,000 or more from that. And these are gross business earnings. So for September, that was $4,168.37. So $37,584 so far this year, and I am 75% of the way to that. I would need to make several thousand for October, November, December to be able to hit this. Right now I'm feeling confident that I can reach this, but we'll see what happens. And as for my emergency fund, I wanted to reach 15,000 here by the end of the year. Obviously in August I pulled quite a bit from it, so that kind of set me back, but in September I added $30 plus the interest that was gained in my high yield savings account, so $83.38 added. I'm now at $12,348 and I am 82% of the way to hitting 15,000. This is something I do really want to get to 15,000 by the end of the year. So depending on my income, I'll be able to do that, but don't know yet. And then final goal is to spend less than 50,000. This is excluding what I save in general, what I save for taxes or pay for taxes. This excludes investing, that sort of thing. So for September, this was pretty low, $2,031.55. That's been my lowest month so far, actually. So I've spent $33,585 so far in the year. Definitely on track to achieve this, and that is great because I also last year spent less than 50,000. So those are all of my numbers for September. I would say I had a pretty good month overall just because I was going into it not feeling like I would have a good month. And what I mean by good month is just having more income, honestly, because it's very helpful to have more income. Obviously, it helps you to save more. It helps you to pay for the things that you need to pay for with less stress. So definitely want this to continue through the end of the year. And I'm very much excited for the final 3 months of the year, but I hope you had a good September. Feel free to share any of your accomplishments or goals that you achieved in the month, and definitely do a checkup on your quarterly progress because I will be making a video on that soon, and it's something I encourage everybody to do. So take a look at the last 3 months and all of your accomplishments. But that video will be coming soon, of course, as well as the income report video that I was talking about. So let me know if y'all have any questions, but otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one.